Do you want to hear a lovely little joke? Not only did we just have NXT in your house, which of course is a pay-per-view, but this Sunday, it's WWE Backlash, which is a pay-per-view. So my joke is, when does WWE not have pay-per-views? Never. They have pay-per-views all the damn time. But my name is Simon Miller, and I'm alright with that because I love the sport of kings and I'm biased towards professional wrestling. But before we go anywhere, stop! Look over there! Look over there, take your damn finger, switch your damn chin, and let's give the good bits up and the bad bits down for NXT in your house. And I'll just say this is a small spoiler. Let's screw the 2000s or the 2020s and let's go back to the mid-90s and stay there forever. Let's up those dials. Right, I am not kidding. If you want to make me, Simon Jeremy Miller, that's my middle name, oh, I can't believe it, very, very happy, just pump me full of nostalgia. Hook it up to my veins and keep it going until I can't take any more. Because not only did we have the voiceover guy here from like the mid-90s, used to go, I can't remember, WWF, the leader of sports entertainment, it's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life, but we also had Todd Pettengill doing his Todd Pettengill things. I almost cried. No joke too, no joke. This is my childhood summed up. I mean, we also had a performance by Code Orange, and I really like Code Orange, but unfortunately they are just surplus for requirements at the moment, and I ain't kidding. I know you're all gonna go crazy, but it made me so happy, and it filled me with so much joy. It not only gets an up, what's that voices in my head? It gets a golden up. That's right. We moved on to our first match, and yes, we also had the old In Your House set, and that just reminded me, look, when we get back to normality and we have fans and crowds back in the arenas, when we're also doing Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views, let's go back to having unique sets. You know why? Because it's fun. Anyway, it was Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox taking on Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in a hey, let's get everybody on the card match. I'm joking, and they just pulled their let's go really fast and do a bunch of crazy moves trigger, and you know what? It made me feel alright. Give it up. However, before all of this, the fans started to chant, "This is awesome," and I was like, what the hell is going on? Because one, don't forget these people were put there by Wild Wrestling Entertainment to provide some atmosphere, and they have been doing a good job. I don't know whether it was meant to be a joke or some kind of irony, like, the real crowds chant this all the time, so we'll do it too. But honestly, from this, and then throughout the entire evening, everybody was just acting so strangely. And again, I know they've got orders, I know they're just doing what they're told to do, but it's a bit like a WWE 2K crowd. You had people come out that should have been getting certain reactions, and they didn't get those reactions, and a good few times it threw me off my game, and therefore down. That doesn't mean get rid of the people, the atmosphere works perfectly like I say, but it was so strange, and really, it was so jarring. Anyway, there was some nonsense until we finally got Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai in there, and of course that makes all the sense in the world, given their past history. And at one point, Nox just grabbed Dakota round her throat and basically went, "Ah!" and screamed in her face. That's what I would do too, really freak them out. Blackheart was in soon enough, and she continued her quest to try and wreck her body before she's 30, because she dived over the top rope, got caught by Gonzalez, who just tossed her aside onto the floor like she was a chocolate wrapper, and the fall she took just looked absolutely horrible. And then there were dives aplenty, including Tegan Nox going to the top rope and doing a somersault onto everyone. Now, if you had wanted to do a "This is awesome" chant here, that would have been okay, but instead we got NXT. You see what I mean? So this was basically a way to get you settled in for the night, so you were so excited about everything else, but it did that job very well, given a massive tick. Obviously, Mia and Candice fought to the back because they hate each other, but that allowed Shotzi and Tegan to double team Raquel Gonzalez. Nox hit her with a wizard so shiny, even Gandalf was like, "That was brilliant, Tegan Nox," and she got the 1, 2, 3. So it was total non-stop action, and that is a poor choice of words by me. And again, we kind of built a bunch of stories here along the way and gave Tegan Nox a nice win. What does that mean this was? That's right, it's fun. There's that word again. Had a brief clip of Rhea Ripley in the back getting ready for her match after this, and it just makes me laugh every time because she was stood there, and on like the steel grate behind her, whatever you want to call it, she had a Rhea Ripley banner. I love the idea of this. She gets there, she finds a space, she stretches, and she's like, "I'm gonna put my banner up so everybody knows my name." Finn Balor and Damian Priest then tried to kill each other, and it was flipping good. up. Clearly wanting Priest to come out the other side feeling like a damn warrior, Finn Balor just did a bunch of crazy stuff here that somewhat coincidentally made Damian Priest feel crazy. The ring apron was getting a proper workout here too. At one point, good old Damo got up on the steel steps and he picked up Finn Balor and then he gave him a sidewalk slam into the apron. And you won't believe this, I had to do my research, but that's the hardest part of the ring. Later on, Finn also got razored edged onto that thing, so he's definitely icing his back today. And a lot of this match did take place outside of the squared circle, but like I say, even when Damian Priest was like pushed against the barrier and Finn Balor was just kicking the shit out of him, it was almost like he wanted his foot to just explode through his ribcage like some kind of Mortal Kombat fatality. It was also a cool moment where Finn was about to give him the coup de grace, but Damian rose from his freak, climbed to the top rope and gave him this crazy choke slam, but only got a 2, and I think within that he got a little bit carried away because that's where it all went bad, because he went back to the ring apron, the damn ring apron, and he set Finn Balor up for another razor's edge, and he was gonna do that on the steel stairs that were on the outside, but Balor got out of it, and he kicked Damian Priest onto them, and honestly, he fell onto it like one of those ragdoll physics things you see in those games. He just crumpled in half like an accordion. It allowed Balor to get back in the ring and then actually hit the coup de grace for the victory, but he was so amazed by the effort put forth by his opponent, he just stared at them like, oh my gosh. And I know there's a few people out there who are scratching their heads watching this going, well, I really think Damian should have won this. But if it is NXT slowly creeping, like some kind of velociraptor, but slowly creeping back to Adam Cole versus Finn Balor, then it made all the sense in the world. And I think this was Damian Priest's best NXT match ever. WWE then aired an Aiko Pro advert. My word. Now I've said this 1,000 times, and this gives me the opportunity to say it the 1,001th time. Can somebody please go out there and find me some damn Aiko Pro? I will even review it here on WhatCulture. I'll do a taste test and I'll let you know how I get on. Bret Hart once said it was one of the worst things he's ever had in his life. I need this in my existence. Thanks. Following this was Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano, and just because of the huge size difference, this was actually my most anticipated match of the night. And did they make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside? Yes, they did. It started brilliantly because somehow Gargano was in the interior of the In Your House, and nobody has ever said that sentence ever, and as he was strolling to the ring, he saw a picture of Doc Hendricks and he gave a little point and a wink. So we were just transported back to the mid-90s here, and I was having the best time of my life, even though in the mid-90s, business sucked for the then WWF, you tell me. When Lee eventually made his way to the ring, he also had Black Lives Matter on his gear, and you're damn right they do. And the absolute cool thing about that was, every time the camera was focused on his backside, that message was getting out there, and that can be no bad thing. And in terms of story, this all came down to Johnny Gargano just being one chicken shit heel and being terrified of the Giant. At one point, Keith Lee was against the steel steps and Johnny Gargano ran at him and he went to kick him, he missed, he hit the steps, and he really pissed Lee off. Johnny then legged it to try and break back into the In Your House, and again, just bear with me, I know it's getting confusing, but in something else that also made no sense, the door was locked. So in kayfabe, what happened was, out came Johnny Gargano, and out came Keith Lee, and some kind of producer went, ha ha ha, I'm gonna lock the door. What a dick. We then had some fun with the production though, because we then switched to a security camera that was meant to be on this front door, and you just saw Keith Lee sneaking up behind Johnny Gargano like he was Jaws. I would like more things like this. And when they actually finally got back in the squared circle, this was Johnny Gargano's plan too. He was gonna chip away at Lee and hopefully get him down, and then when he was there, apply submission holds, but Keith was too damn strong, to the point when they were both back up at their feet, he gave Johnny Gargano a lariat so hard that when the cameras weren't focused on Mr. Wrestling, I bet his head had actually come away from his body and EMTs were just gluing it back on. It was brutal. What I really enjoyed here too is that they kind of took a page out of the Aki video games, if you remember them, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW versus NWO Revenge, because after Johnny had spiked Keith Lee on the outside, he tried to pick him up, but he couldn't because Keith Lee is massive and Johnny Gargano is just a little fish. I can always buy into stories like this because it doesn't take much of anything to figure out what's going on, and it also probably saw the end of Johnny Gargano's life because he took so long trying to sort this, both guys got back up, and then Keith Lee pounced Johnny Gargano through that perspex glass stuff they've got on the outside, ruining social distancing, and also likely ruining Johnny Gargano's life. I always assumed nonsense would go down given the narrative and that WWE only has 3 endings, and here they pulled out distraction finish, so that's what went down because Candice LeRae came out to help her man, but then Mia Yim was there because those two are having a massive feud. They then fought to the back, but it actually opened the door, no pun intended from earlier, for Gargano because he got his keys again, which he was keeping in his pants. And look, if you're not a man, you may not understand how that didn't hurt his testicles. I would never know, don't worry about it. But he got his keys and he rammed it right in Lee's other eye. We've already seen this once, and you know that Keith Lee don't sell no eye pain. That's exactly what happened, because he managed to come back from this, eventually hit the Big Bang Catastrophe, pin Johnny Gargano to the 1, 2, 3, and your North American champion is still Keith Lee. And I personally am alright with that. And look, if Gargano's new role is to take other guys and try and help them climb the ladder a little bit, then he did that here superbly. I had a good time. And also, if Keith Lee ain't gonna sell his eye, I will sell his eye for him. I tell you, this ruins your peripheral vision. Right, serious question. Why does every single WWE affiliated champion have access to some kind of truck? Stone Cold Steve Austin, Becky Lynch, Kurt Angle, and now the NXT champ, Adam Cole. Because he arrived for his Backlot Brawl match in his own Undisputed Era big rig, as if this was the most normal thing ever. It's not. Velveteen Dream must have known about this too, because then he pulled up in a Lamborghini. It was like the start of a Hot Wheels match. As expected, because this was pre-tape too, this was half wrestling match and half cinematic match, and I actually thought it looked pretty decent because the ring was in the middle of a parking lot and all the lights were from the cars that were around said ring, and it did give things a different feel. But if you want to talk about the overall quality, was it good as other cinematic matches we've seen? No, probably not. I'd say it's likely nearer towards the end of the scale. I still thought it did alright. It still broke up the pacing of the show. It's gonna get it up. It also started great because the first thing Cole wanted to do was smash Velveteen Dream in the head with the belt, but Velveteen missed and he tried to roll Adam Cole up using the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but it was too soon, and also not the 24/7 championship, because as we know, if the 24/7 title's on the line, roll-ups have an extra power of times 10. It then went really strange because Cole decided he'd had enough and he got into another car to try and drive off before Velveteen Dream stopped him with a bat. It's kind of simple wrestling match. If you try and get away and someone has a big bat, you're not gonna get away. But then an Uber driver just arrived and went, "Did anybody ask for an Uber?" And the ref was like, "You better get out of here, Uber driver." So she just drove off. What the hell was that? It then turned into Cape Fear because Velveteen Dream was walking around going, come out, wherever you are." And Adam Cole did, and he sprayed him with a fire extinguisher. I don't think Robert De Niro did that in the movie, but I enjoyed it all the same. There was then more Gaga because the rest of Undisputed Era, this was always going to happen, turned up in their own car, and they saw Velveteen Dream at the top of the ladder, and they were going to get him off. But instead, Adam Cole went off there, and Velveteen pushed him onto a car windscreen, and he really did some damage to his arm. Actually looked quite horrible. You already know where all of this is going because of course then Dexter Lumis came from below the ring like some kind of terrifying dragon, and he threw the Undisputed Era into the back of his car and drove off. So that's a kidnapping. And by this point there were a bunch of chairs in the ring because once again Adam Cole's buddies had just decided, we know what we can do. We'll throw a bunch of weapons into the ring. Because that's just what happens in June. Velveteen Dream was also able to hit a couple of his finishes here, but that's kind of a contradicting statement because none of them actually finished Adam Cole off. And what did was Adam Cole taking his hand, ramming Velveteen Dream right in the penis. That will always take him down. And then he saw the chairs and thought, I can do a Panama Sunrise into all of those. That's what he did, and you know what happened? He retained his championship, and now the Dream can never go after it again as long as Adam is holding it around his waist. He celebrated as all the cars honked their horns, because of course that's what you would do when an evil man was just able to hold on to his gold. And again, I thought it was decent. It didn't go overly long. It wasn't maybe as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but was I sports entertained? Yes. Todd Pettingill was then back spoofing the WWF hotline, and again, I just love this. I love this so much, I don't think I could have loved this anymore. I think I love it more than my family. I'm not going to pretend. If they're watching this, I'm sorry, but sometimes you just got to be honest. The DX were here too, but I don't care about that. Let's bring Todd Pettingill back. And then, my friends, Karrion Kross absolutely wrecked Tommaso Ciampa in just 6 minutes. You damn right, that's getting it up. Much like his old pal Johnny Gargano, I think Tommaso Ciampa's role is to take new guys and throw them up in the air, and he did it wonderfully, and so did the commentators, because they spent so long going, oh my gosh, Tommaso Ciampa is so great. Oh my gosh, Tommaso Ciampa has done that. So when Kross did just bulldoze him like he was nothing, I mean, Ciampa got some offense in here, but not a lot. It was just like one big flub you, I'm here, and I'm gonna kick all the ass. I mean, this was like your dad giving you a beating after you decided and made the terrible decision to swear in front of him for the first time, and even the finish was cool. Because Karrion Kross used the Kross jacket, which yes, is the worst name of anything in the history of Earth, but what you're gonna do, his whole like submission thing, to make Tommaso Ciampa pass out, he did, and the referee had no choice but to go, well, that's the end of that. Karrion Kross, you just won, and you just won easily. And this made even more sense too, because the Kross jacket focuses on somebody's neck, and what does Tommaso Ciampa have problems with? His neck. He now looks like $1 million. I think this was awesome. And then we had the biggest surprise of the night in our main event, because I'd been online and I'd seen people on social media and I'd seen people on podcasts, and there were a few potential predictions for which way this triple threat match could go down, but I barely heard anyone say Io Shirai, but right now she is your new NXT Women's Champion. Is getting it up. Now there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the finish, so that's what we will do, because really there's around about 78,409 ways you can now go with this, because Charlotte Flair did indeed have the figure 8 on Rhea Ripley. Io Shirai saw this, she spied it from afar. She gave Rhea Ripley one of the most horrendous moonsaults I've ever seen ever, because she landed right on her face, but look, if you want to have some kind of winning move, it worked aplenty, and she pinned Rhea Ripley as Charlotte Flair was trying to break her hold to stop this, but wasn't able to. So again, yeah, Io Shirai is your new champ. The issue now comes because people are saying, well, Rhea Ripley lost twice, and yes, you're not wrong, but let's look at it this way instead. For starters, if the champion of a brand should be the best wrestler on said brand, then Io Shirai should be your champion, and now she is. Flair can be all pissed off because she didn't technically lose, so the Io Shirai Charlotte thing can continue, but if it also means that at some point Rhea Ripley beats Charlotte, and then goes on to get another title match against Io Shirai and wins her gold back, then again, this has ticked all the boxes, and I don't see a problem with that. I think it's a lovely little story. Also, for those out there who are really mad and pissed off and moaning, all you wanted, you told me anyway, was for Charlotte Flair to no longer be the champion. Well, guess what? She's no longer the champion. Stop rubbing that genie bottle. You got your wish. Either way, this match absolutely rocked from start to finish. All three are great wrestlers. It could have been the best thing on the night, depending on what your cup of tea is. And while this wasn't the best NXT takeover I've ever seen, it was still awesome. It was still great. It was only 2 hours and 20 minutes. I always enjoy that. It, my dears, is getting it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about all of this. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling. Then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here. I'm done with that. That just hurts. On WhatCulture Wrestling. Ugh. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. I think I'm about to collapse because the light just shining into this eye is terrifying. I'm like a beast reborn. I'll see you soon.